This interview is brought to you by Verizon. When the Navy and Marine Corps look to securely, effectively modernize their network and voice communications in the continental United States or outside the contiguous United States, Verizon's suite of services, solutions, and contract vehicles are there to help meet mission needs.
Hi, I'm Jordan McDonald, staff writer with GovCIO Media and Research, and we're here at AFCEA West in San Diego. Today, I'm joined by Vice Admiral Craig Clapperton, Commander of the U.S. Fleet Cyber Command and Navy Space Command. Vice Admiral, thanks for joining us.
Jordan, it's great to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for joining us. Vice Admiral, could you sort of explain to me what are some of the most significant cyber threat evolutions you've observed in the past few years and how your commands are addressing strategies and developing strategies to combat them?
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't think that's any news to any people that would be listening. You know, it's SolarWinds challenges. It's challenges, as you've heard most recently, from persistent threats like we call them Volt Typhoon and Salt Typhoon, which are Chinese actors. And these are actors that are going after vulnerabilities that exist in our network systems, whether they be within the DoD networks, within commercial networks, and oftentimes just within our critical infrastructure networks. Several times, and most often, it's due to older equipment that hasn't been updated, and these vulnerabilities have existed, the equipment's getting older, and then these actors take advantage of them. And then when they do, because they're smart and because they do a lot of probing and understanding, the ones that they take advantage of often end up being fairly widespread. And then the good news is we find them. It's always bad when you know that they're actually there and positioning on these networks. But the good news is across DoD and across DHS and across our civilian partners, we actually have fairly strong cyber defenses, and we can find these individuals. But then when we find that activity, because often they are through fairly prolific vulnerabilities in the networks, it takes a little bit of time to clean it up. So I think those ones that you've seen in the press are often the most significant ones, and it just takes time and money to clean them up. The good news is when you find them, it's free training and free lesson learned, and if you can stop them before they've done any significant damage, then the impact is minimized. But it's never zero, that's for sure.
Could you help me understand how you're collaborating with our allies and industry commercial partners to address these threats?
Sure. Yeah, it's all of the above, right? So we coordinate not just across DoD, but across the interagency, across the intelligence community. We share information extremely fast and really pretty effectively across that U.S. government group. Since 2018, when we Cyber Command began doing a significant amount of work in defending U.S. elections from foreign interference and influence, we learned a lot of lessons during that period of time, and then of course since then, and we've gotten much better at coordinating with our industry partners as well. So when it's all the typical big players that you would know across internet service providers and social media companies and those kinds of things, we've gotten much better at that. Are we perfect at it? No, but the speed and the extensiveness of our sharing has grown significantly. Our partners and allies are absolutely a critical piece of this, right? The internet isn't really confined to any one country, of course. It is a global piece. And so certainly coordinating, most openly, obviously, with our Five Eye partners is the most effective and rapid sharing. That sharing and that information exchange deepens literally every day. Have we reached the pinnacle yet? No, but we're getting better and more mature in all of that. We are more challenged when you start to go to some of our third-party partners and partners that are across the globe, smaller countries that have less significant cyber capability. Because then when you get to that point, and this can also happen with some of our industry partners, you really have to think carefully about how you want to share that information, and then how you can share that information that is either classified or butts right up against the classification level in a secure manner with an industry partner, or perhaps a smaller country with a less robust cyber defense capability. And so find ways to share that information both at speed and securely.
Mm-hmm. At the conference, we've heard a lot about different emerging technologies like AI,
Sure.
Obviously. How are your commands leveraging emerging technology like AI to stay ahead of potential adversaries?
Yeah, so within Cyber Command, we have established an AI task force. It's a really important initiative for us. While we're excited about where that's taking us, it's a first step. It needs to be much deeper and broader. I think this is a great opportunity for industry and DoD to partner. There are obviously a significant amount of industry partners that have gained a lot of insight, gained a lot of capability, gained a lot of intelligence in this area. And so figuring out ways that we can share that information, what our needs from AI are, which are very different than what civilian needs from AI are. It's still decision making. It's still risk, but it's a different kind of decision and a different kind of risk. So there's some nuance there. And so how can we use the models to achieve each other's goals? But internally, we have some pretty talented cyber developers as well. And we have been working on some of our own models and our own capabilities that have helped us to advance how we use AI for our specific needs. And I think that's another great area where, again, we can get, our best experts on it to sit down with industry best experts and say, hey, this is how we have used your models. This is how we have developed some of our own models and capabilities. And then that can then help to inform, what might be next for them. Because really important with anything within cyber, and certainly true within AI, as soon as you think, okay, we're there, we're done, right, then you're instantly falling behind. It's a constantly adapting and changing field.
Mm-hmm. And so thinking about emerging technology, that's one thing, one aspect of the cyber fight, the cyber mission. The people, though, how are you working towards, recruiting and retaining and hiring cyber talent?
Yeah, it's a great question. And one of our hardest challenges, right? Everybody wants people that are skilled in defensive cyber operations and data science and data management and large language models. And that, yes, that's DoD, and yes, it's the U.S. government, but it's also industry and it's academia. So everyone's kind of quote unquote fishing from the same pool. There are things we are working on within DoD to actively go out and recruit these people, right? Try to make sure that in our academies, in our ROTC programs, in our enlisted training programs, that we value those degrees, that we value those experts, the people with that expertise at the highest level. There are opportunities to reach out to civilians that have these skill sets and do a thing that we call direct commissioning. So in other words, that person has a cyber or an information warfare capability that is so valuable to us that we actually want to bring that person direct in versus a traditional assessment or academy program. So we look at those kind of things. Another way that we're working this is through, we call it tours with industry. A program that has existed for a while, but I think quite candidly we're working to scale and increase. Again, this would be a great opportunity for us to have a maritime cyber warfare officer or a cyber warfare technician go and work with one of the big companies for a year or two, show them the things that we're doing, at the classification level that you can, but then learn from them, say about cloud computing or large language models or, defensive cyber on, SCADA and OT systems, right? And then bring that knowledge back to us and, then help to train the trainer and be one of the people that trains the rest of the force, right? And that elevates. And then of course, sharing that expert back out to the industry, right? This helps them better understand our needs. That's another potential way to do that. So there are multiple ways that we're working it. I think when you look at retaining them, that for the most part, we do okay at retaining our cyber force. But I think, and this is actually in congressional language, that across the services, we have been told, hey, look at what each of the services and the Coast Guard cyber teams are very good as well. Look at what they're doing to incentivize retention, incentivize increased skill sets, right? And across the services, everybody take a look at that, and then let's figure out what everyone does best. Each of the services have pieces of that they do better than anyone else. And then let's just sort of come up with a best athlete approach to that and say, let's take all the best and bring that in, right? And so those are the kind of things I think we need to do. It starts from valuing and seeking out the degrees. It goes to tours with industry. It goes to doing things to intentionally develop and train those people, whether it's sending them to academic institutions or building our own training programs in industry. And then we look at everything from sessions all the way through retention, promotion opportunities to try to do that. And then the other unique thing that we have in our world, right, is we do allow cyber operators to go against the best nation-state cyber operators in the world. So hacker v. hacker, and to try to stop the very best, right? And so that ability to work that unique mission and to do that for a national security purpose, not everybody that has a cyber degree wants to do that, but there are some that certainly that is a key driver, and we value that, that warfighting mentality from those folks.
That's a really incredible mission. Understanding, we've talked a lot about the current state of cyber warfare, and what does the future look like? What can we expect from your commands? What are the threats that you're looking at? The potential technologies? Anything really?
So it's everything and anything. So we are looking to what I would say, diversify our methodologies for both access and understanding of adversary space. We are then understanding that our adversaries are also very good. And so if we're looking at those unique, non-traditional approaches to cyber, chances are adversaries, whether they be state or nation state or non-nation state actors, are probably trying to do the same things to us. So then how can we then take this lesson learned from that side of it to then build our own defenses and make our defenses better. We've talked a lot about AI, but we're using AI in this scenario, right? So we can say, hey, how would this particular adversary, approach this problem, right? And ask that in a preparation environment, right? To help our planners, our developers, our defenders understand that, hey, based on prior performance and based on intelligence, this is how this adversary might act. So how could I preemptively go out and harden my networks to, ideally proactively prevent that attack vector? So using artificial intelligence, using machine learning, and using it to not make the decisions for us, but use that, perfect recall of everything we've done since, 2015 or whatever it might be, right? And say, hey, everything I've, over the last 10 years, tell me what has been the most successful against this kind of a problem, right? Human beings can't remember all those details, or at least not most of us, and certainly not me. But the computer can. And so, hey, with that perfect recall, I know you can't make the decision for me, but help me understand what you think would be the most likely weakness, the most likely advantage, and the steps that I should take. And that helps the person start to figure out those really challenging problems.
Vice Admiral, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights.
Yeah, happy to do it. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's great to be out here with West and talking to the entire enterprise out here. So I love it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.